I'll do a little discussion here of money spiking. I think something that people often say is like, I need to spike whatever number for a target. Whether it's a spike like spike 6 for alt or spike 7 for inheritance. It's really looking at my first priority in an early game is to hit some price point that is generally higher. 5 is something that's common. That's usually going to be pretty easy to hit. Whereas the 6s and the 7s usually have to go through some I don't know, maybe non-standard things to be doing. Like we talk about trashing estates being a good way to hit 5. It's maybe not the best way to be hitting 6 or 7. You need to be putting a little bit of extra effort into those. The reason you're doing this is there's some essential resource that only exists at 6 altar, 7 inheritance, forge, etc. Some essential resource that only exists at 6 or 7. And usually when we're talking spiking, the resource that we're talking about is trashing. Usually, other resources that exist at 6 or 7, we can talk like border village, hunting grounds, border village, hunting grounds, draw, grand market, payload, maybe like looting payload. These ones usually, you want to wait for deck control just because it's kind of difficult to use, whatever they're giving without some degree of deck control first. Border village doesn't do a whole lot of good if you're not connecting with your actions. Hunting grounds, you need to be able to play a village before payload. Certainly you want to be, drawing well rather than just injecting payloads. So, really this is usually just talking about trashing. I mean, the examples given, altar is trashing, inheritance is basically trashing. It trashes your estates. Forge is certainly trashing. There's probably some others, but these things these are the ones that you're trying to spike for, usually not other components. When you're trying to do this, a lot of the time with your opening buys, you're trying to kind of do this mix between control and money. You usually aren't going to be putting terminal draw cards in your deck early because you have potential to draw stuff dead. But when you have to hit a huge number, it definitely changes things around. Terminal draw, particularly big terminal draw, like we're talking Smithy here. +3 cards is a really big deal. It's a good way to be doing this because oftentimes, if you're drawing 2, 3, coppers with that, you're doing better than you are, by adding a silver. And also if you miss, you get a second chance at it a little bit sooner with the cycling. Then the other, way to do this, I have it as next turn durations, but it's really, things that affect your next turn. Supplies is an example of something that's going to affect your next turn. It's essentially a duration draw. But durations, just because you're basically kind of giving up one turn to do better the next turn. Your next turn effect is usually a little bit stronger. Like in Enchantress, you get a +2 cards next turn. That's essentially a +3 cards, that would be in your hand. And so, these things become a lot more appealing just because you don't have to be, spending the resource that turn to get their effect. So, something that's going to give you 2 coins on your next turn. I don't even know if there's anything that does that, is a lot more appealing, than it would be otherwise, just because if you're trying to hit 7, that means, your next turn is only having to produce 5 coins in order to get there. And so, for those things, you're usually going to, open a little bit differently so that you can, what we call spike this high price point, get the essential thing in your deck and work from there.